Hello, lovely people, and welcome to this speed build of a tropical eco cafe. It is quite similar to the tropical eco tiny house I built last, which I also placed it on the lot right next to it in Newcrest, which is not the most tropical of locations, but I don't know. That's where I've started to build this neighborhood. I say. With a lot of hesitation. I don't know if this will turn into a neighborhood. It could, but maybe I should, finish the base game Japanese neighborhood I'm building first before I start another neighborhood. I don't know. So I was thinking, I use a lot of the same sort of building style and wallpapers and plants as I did for the tiny house I built last. And I was thinking it could just be built by the same people, at the same time, or possibly the owner of the cafe lives next door in the tiny house, or it could be a planned neighborhood, or maybe it's just it's the same materials that are available. So I don't know. It could be fun to have a planned eco neighborhood. I might build more on it. I was also thinking doing a sort of extreme renovation of one of the base game homes we have, the home of the pancakes. That could be quite fun to do that in a similar style to this cafe and the tiny house I built. So totally eco friendly and solar panels and turf roofing and that sort of things, to strip their home down to just the bare bones, the walls, and then build it up to this eco-friendly house. That could be quite fun. I might end up doing that, but I have 5 different builds I want to finish before that. Most importantly, the base game Japanese mansion, which I've been working on for quite some time, but I have a lot of trouble with figuring out how to do the inside. I'm done with the outside of the house, but I have a lot of trouble. I think I might have to strip down everything I've done inside and then redo it in a sort of more simple style, which I haven't found the energy to do yet, both for personal reasons and I don't know, because I really like the kitchen I did. I might have to keep the kitchen to get a bit back on track with this house. So I call it tropical, which I suppose it is, but I used a fair bit of a mix of plants, both from island living, which is Polynesian, and jungle adventure, which is more South American. So I don't know quite what sort of geographical location this is supposed to be. Maybe it makes sense that it's in Newcrest. It's in a, I think Newcrest is supposed to be somewhere in America somewhere. I don't know. So maybe they've sort of decided to redo all the landscaping and gardening with all these tropical plants from all over the place. That might be why there's a mix. Although honestly, I'm not going to be claim to be in any way an expert on what makes something tropical. I think I've been south of I've never been outside of Europe, and I think I've been south of Berlin 5 times. I mean, when I've been traveling and been on holidays and so on, it's mostly been in Northern Europe, mostly been in Scandinavia. Honestly, and I've been to England and Wales a couple of times, so I don't have the most experience with the sort of a tropical climate. So I should apologize in advance if this looks nothing like any sort of tropical climate, or I don't know. So I don't think anyone thought I was an expert on what sort of plant life is logical or tropical, but if you were, then I'm not. Now for the second part of the title of this cafe, is it an eco cafe? Well, I do end up putting some solar panels in, and there's also turf roofing. I don't know. Does that make it an eco cafe? I mean, the eco part might just be what sort of products they sell, like eco-friendly and fair trade and ethically sourced coffees and so on. That might be the eco part, but I don't know. I don't know where you live, but there's quite a lot of sort of trendy cafes that have this sort of eco, maybe a bit tropical themed sort of theme around where I live, and you can sort of, I wanted to give the sense, like you can almost smell the sort of wooden flooring they've used, and maybe it smells a bit strange, but like that sort of, and you can smell like the roasted coffee and that whole sort of vibe. I mean, some of the furniture might look a bit grubby or dirty, but is it part of, you know, the whole theme they're going for? Is it on purpose, or are they maybe a bit lazy with the cleaning of the furniture? We will never know. So that's the sort of cafe I had in mind. Okay, this make it sound like the cafes are really dirty where I live. I don't think they are. I'm pretty sure it's on purpose. It's purposely a bit run down looking, a bit rough looking. So that's the sort of the cafe I had in mind when I built this eco-tropical cafe. Also, I really like the whole playing a bit with sort of the levels, to have the cafe a bit above ground level. I think it's nice to, even though this is a really small lot, it's 15 by 20, I don't know, it sort of creates separate spaces on the lot, I think. At least that's what I was going for. But I think last time I said the next build is definitely going to be, you know, the Japanese mansion, which it wasn't at all. And before that, I think I said the next build is definitely going to be the sort of mushroom kingdom, which it wasn't at all. So I'm not going to say anything about what the next thing I'm going to be building will be. I think it might be the Japanese mansion, but I've been wrong before, so I will make no promises. It'll be a surprise what the next thing I build is gonna be. I've also been thinking a bit about doing like some sort of autumn haunted house thing. I mean, everybody else is doing it, but that doesn't mean I can't have fun building one too. But I also want to build like a Swedish style base game starter home. One of those, you know, they have, I think it's called Fäluröd. Eller Fäluröd. I don't know, I don't speak Swedish. But you have like these wooden building which is painted red and then with white trims, and they are really quite beautiful and lovely. And I understand why it's like it's a thing in Sweden, I suppose. And again, I suppose it's a bit about what building materials were available in that time period it was built. But there's a lot of them, especially in the southern. It might be all over Sweden. Again, I'm most familiar with the south part of Sweden. That's where I've been the most. I have family there as well. I have family in the north part of Sweden as well now. My brother and sister-in-law moved there half a year ago. So, but I have a fair bit of cousins of my mother and so on living in the south part of Sweden. So so that's where I've been the most on like holidays and so on. But yeah, so they do have like a lot of that red painted wooden houses in Sweden, and I think that could be like a really nice starter home. You could do something really cute and cozy and lovely with that. But it's a fun thing. I think it was at one point in time a bit of a sort of a status symbol to have these red painted wooden houses. It was both a bit of both a bit of a sentimental thing, the sort of rural or country idyllic thing, but also to have these strongly painted walls. There's a bit of a status symbol in it. In Denmark, you'll see like a lot of half-timbered buildings. If we go like back to the same period of time, which are like painted white, but that's again a bit of what materials were available, because there might not have been quite as much timber available in Denmark, but there's a whole lot of clay and some rocks, but we don't have cliffs or mountains for that matter. And they're all painted white because there's a lot of what do you call that? Chalk in the ground? That's not what you call it. Limestone. I think it's called limestone in English, because that's basically what Denmark is. It's limestone, clay, and sand, and a bit of dirt as well. So, which is good and it's bad, but it does mean it's a very flat country. And I think I heard a Norwegian say that all the nature in Denmark it's basically one big garden, which is true. We don't have like a ton of wild nature, unless you count like all the water. We have a lot of coastline and a lot of water and ocean. There's a bit more wildlife in the water, but in terms of mountains or big forests and stuff like that, that's not a lot. We do have some moors and a lot of like swamp country, which just doesn't sound very appealing. So if you're thinking like Scandinavia, like these mountains, that's not a thing in Denmark. We do have things we call fjord or fjords, but they are not quite as gorgeous as the ones you see in the movies or what you might be thinking of when you hear it. They're a bit more casual. I think there's like only one place in Denmark where we actually have cliffs, and that's on Bornholm, which is an island which, if you talk like in geographical terms, it's really part of southern part of Sweden, but it's Danish. And the people on Bornholm have like throughout history several times been like taken over by other people and thrown them out, and gone back, as they have like a very clear Danish identity. They have fought to be Danish on a number of occasions, both with the Swedes, the Russians, and the Germans. So I want to make clear they are Danish. They have fought for it quite a lot. So we don't have a lot of that. But we do have like a lot of swamp area, which doesn't sound all that appealing, but it does mean that this is a fun fact, and it's completely off tangent and nothing to do with the speed build, I'm sorry. But the fact that we have all these swamps mean that we have like a lot of very well preserved both box bodies, as they're called, sort of like mummified Stone Age people, for instance, and an Iron Age, for that matter. And also, a fun fact, despite Denmark, the area which is now Denmark, never being part of the Roman Empire, there have been found more well-preserved Roman swords in the Danish sort of box, because there's no oxygen down there, so it's preserved them. So that's a quite fun fact. Plus they had this thing where they would sacrifice things to the bog or to the swamp. So that's why there's a whole lot of stuff being found in the swamps. Which is another thing which is threatened, which global warming is sort of threatening. Because they're sort of drying out. We're getting warmer and warmer summers. So they're sort of drying out the swamps. So some of the things might not be quite as well preserved anymore. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a bit of a downer. I'm sorry. But we reached the end of this speed build. I want to thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. You are more than welcome to check out some of my other videos, and if you feel like it's something you like, then you're also more than welcome to subscribe. I hope you have a truly wonderful day wherever you might be.